DC's transition from one management to the other really seems to be working against it, because things have been falling apart as fans look on in despair. Of these plans, the biggest fallout was Superman's, especially after The Rock's campaign to bring him back, and Henry Cavill's appearance in Black Adam. So, where did it all go wrong? And has it really turned Dwayne and Cavill into enemies? Let's find out in today's video. Now first, why did The Rock's DCU plans fail? A few months ago, especially around Black Adam's release, we really thought Dwayne Johnson would be able to pull off his plans to bring Henry Cavill back to the DCU. But sadly, it all went down the drain when James Gunn pulled out the big guns and shot the idea down once and for all. What we'd like to ask is why? Why did The Rock's plans fail? And how exactly did such a huge campaign that was successful in Cavill appearing in the movie fail so badly? Well, there's a reason behind that. And the reason is, drumroll please, The Rock himself. Firstly, let's all note that even before his foray to the big screen as Black Adam, he was in conflict with DC. First, he tried to sell his own vision for Black Adam too hard, and crashed in the process after he contacted one too many execs in order to bring his ideas to life. The first one on his list was David Zaslav, the newly appointed CEO of WB at the time, to whom he pitched his Black Adam and Superman idea. But as we said, he tried to pitch the idea to everyone, and according to sources, it didn't sit well with the higher-ups. Wait up, so how did Cavill's cameo happen? You can call it persistence, or maybe the studio's way of shutting down The Rock's advances. To be fair, it could be either, because at this point, he was acting really stubborn, while also leveraging fan support to bring Cavill back. Considering how the DCU is already going through tough times thanks to Ezra Miller's arrest and Batgirl's tax cutoff, the pressure from fans and a superstar associated with their upcoming big-budget movie was obviously too much. Keep in mind, Warner Brothers film chief Toby Emmerich had also decided to recast Superman in 2018, so bringing Henry back was obviously not part of anyone's plans. But even then, after constant persistence from Dwayne with support from Hiram Garcia, his ex-brother-in-law / Black Adam producer Beau Flynn, new Warner Brothers film co-heads Michael DeLuca and Pam Abdi decided to allow a Henry Cavill cameo, which was shot in the summer of 2022, long after the film's shooting had wrapped up. Now that sounds like a bargain made especially for The Rock, but even that didn't work out thanks to the movie tanking badly, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Now, let's talk about The Rock's unending demands. Yes, demands, in plural. Like, we get it, he's a star, and can have standards as to how he wants to present his films and all. But hey, demanding to release his movie in a tequila bar of all places, just because he wanted the release to tie in with his brand, Terramana, is questionable, especially considering that the film had no PG or R ratings attached to it, making it a movie for adults and kids alike. Dude, if you really wanted such a release, you probably should have thought about it before making it a wide audience film, right? And that's just one reason. His overall redefining DC plan was a little too over the top, especially considering that he wasn't actually in the position to change things. Yeah, he was the star of the film, but that didn't give him enough power to change stuff in DC, no matter how many executives, or ex-executives, he called. Remember how we said his actions didn't sit well with the higher-ups? This was yet another example of that. Then came the movie's numbers. Let's be honest, Black Adam was a big-budget film. Just the fact that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was attached to it made it big. But despite the whole drama around him wanting to bring Cavill back and the positioning of the film as a darker anti-hero movie, it tanked. Not in the worst way, it still ranked number 11th on the list of the most successful films of 2022, but considering its massive $195 million initial and $40 million reshoot budget, along with the disclosed promotional amount spent by WB, makes its $391 million worldwide haul a mere break-even amount. Remember guys, The Rock was paid $1 million to promote Red Notice on Twitter. That alone gives us an idea of how big Black Adam's promotional budget must have been. So considering the pain the studio had to go through, the return received from Black Adam was probably too underwhelming to continue their relationship. Sources have claimed that he even made up some numbers to make the film seem more profitable than it was. Sadly, none of it worked. After that, Johnson and the DC League of Super Pets drama happened. Did you know that the actor pushed to have himself listed in the producer credits for the film? Even though he was voicing Crypto in the movie, he wanted additional credits too, which meant he'd have to promote the film further, which he didn't do. According to sources, his demands kept going up without bringing any significant returns, so he obviously wasn't the studio's favorite. Sheesh. And it all came to a head when The Rock unfollowed the WB and Black Adam Instagram accounts, proving that his time with the studio was over. Moving on, was Cavill a pawn in his entire plan? Because, well, we don't think both the actors were such huge pals that The Rock would go to such lengths to bring him back to DC. In fact, the whole campaign may have been more of a power move to ensure that he and his characters were the cornerstones of the new DC era, all combined with the new management. And between it all, Cavill bore the brunt of it, because no matter what plan Dwayne had, the Man of Steel actor was pretty excited to come back. In fact, he says he had a lot of plans for the character that he could talk about for days. Considering how this news coincided with him being fired from The Witcher, we feel super bad, especially considering he'd even posted an update of him returning to the role, and the performance he's given as Superman all this time. The man really didn't deserve that, and fans agree. In fact, they're angry at not only James Gunn for his step to ditch Cavill, but also at Dwayne Johnson, whom they say manipulated not only Cavill, but the entire industry in his attempt to build his role up in the DCU. And this was supported by an insider from the studio too, who said that Henry just ended up being a pawn in Dwayne's attempt to control DC. Hold up. So is Henry firing Dany Garcia related to this? She is The Rock's ex-wife after all, so the rumors of Henry firing her as his agent after a decade's run together isn't entirely baseless. But they aren't true either, because while he has decided to part ways with his former agent, Dany Garcia is still a trusted strategic advisor to him and will remain to be that for the foreseeable future. Guess the Man of Steel is a man of promise too, because despite being used as a dealing card by The Rock, he's kept himself cool and only seems to be focusing on his career ahead. No wonder we love the man. Coming up, what about Henry and Dwayne's relationship? Well, they're not enemies, we'll tell you that much. Of course, why would they be? At face value, what Dwayne did was try and give him a chance at one of his favorite roles. And being the nerd goofball that he is, Henry played along, because we all know how much he loved being Superman. So if you're going to come at us and tell us that they're lifelong enemies now, we'll ask you to stop, because that's simply not the energy Henry Cavill wants to engage in. That's why, even after being ditched by two super major franchises that he loved so dearly, he hasn't said a peep about how hurt he is. You don't think a guy like that would go for revenge from The Rock, would he? So yeah, they're cordial, and still friends who are trying to get back up from their hopes being crushed by WB. Because no matter how hard you think of Dwayne as the villain here, you have to admit that WB itself has been on the rocks and unable to manage the DC universe very well. We can't entirely blame Johnson to get the reels back up, can we? Finally, what's up with DC's Superman now? It's hard to be excited about what Warner Brothers is building with the DCU, especially keeping in mind how their plans just keep falling apart. But let's take a look at their plans anyway, only for Superman's sake. While rumors of Robert Pattinson's Batman pairing with a younger Man of Steel in the future are going around, we don't think that's something we'll get to see. That's because, time and again, Matt Reeves and James Gunn have reiterated that both universes won't merge, which is actually a good thing, but that's a topic for another day. For now, all we know is that Gunn and Safran are thinking of a younger role for Superman, maybe even an origin story. We're sort of done with major superheroes retelling us about their origins, so we'd rather have a vigilante tale than a growing into his skin one from Warner Brothers this time. As for Henry, after ending his run with Superman and Geralt, he's all set to regain his screen time with the Warhammer live-action franchise, where we bet he's going to do a really great job. And as far as The Rock is concerned, he's taking some time to revisit his own shortcomings, citing that he's got the guts to fail and will get back up bigger and better than before. Although, how's this guy going to get any bigger is a question we can't imagine an answer to. Until then, we'll be waiting to see him in the Fast and Furious franchise. Maybe that'll work better than his plans for Black Adam did. And that's a wrap for this video. What do you think about all the drama surrounding Superman and Henry Cavill? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.